Folks, what makes one rental at a time different and why you must like and subscribe and be a part of the family is we bring the best of the best from across the country. Beth Traverso, top 1% agent. She is here each week to tell you what's going on in her market. Beth, how you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you, Mike, for having me back. Always a highlight of my week to be here with everybody. So thank you.
And the audience loves you. So we are here at April 4th, and you are already getting summary data from March. Remind people what market you're in, what the
Right.
median price is, and then talk about what you are seeing in the early numbers.
Yeah. So I was just looking at it this morning because they're not even official yet, but I went into our back end and started poking around a little bit. I'm in the greater Seattle area. The numbers I look at is an area called King County, which is basically the entire Seattle, Bellevue, greater area, about 2 million population there.
Wow.
So, and what I was seeing, we've been talking about, it's been a really interesting spring and how the bump that we normally get would have started back in January. It hasn't happened as far as like surge in inventory, not there. And buyers are getting discouraged because there's very little to buy. And what I'm seeing just this morning in the March data is that our median home price bumped from just under 810 to 850 from February to March.
Wow.
Which indicates to me that we're not seeing some people that were hoping for a prices to decline. I'm not seeing any evidence of that happening. But you have to look beyond the headlines because year over year, King County, according to the data I was looking at this morning, is down 9.1% year over year. But we know from looking behind that data, what was going on a year ago is that when things were insane and we're going 112% list price to sale price ratio. So we're going to have a few months where we're working through that year over year that it's going to look like Armageddon, but it's really not. But if you look at it from what's going on the ground and month to month, now we always do typically see a little bit of a bump in the springtime in prices. So I guess the news there is that we are seeing some of those seasonal trends happening even still. But we're not seeing, the good news is for buyers is that we're not seeing extremes that we were seeing last year, which was completely unsustainable and really
Unhealthy.
chaotic, dangerous in a lot
Yeah.
of ways. So I'm happy that
Yes.
that's not happening. It's a more balanced market. Still has its frustrations, like every market does. Very little to buy.
Yeah. So let me kind of summarize what our great conversations, folks. And if you don't know, Beth has a playlist on this channel called Beth. You can go back and look at a video, I think from last week. It might have been the week before, where I think the title says basically look at chart 6.
Yeah.
That chart is going to have the data that I'm about to reference. So if you want to know why Seattle or King County is down year on year, all you have to do is go back to the year we're comparing to, which will be March of 2022. In March of 2022, King County, 2 million people, the average purchase price to list price was 112%. I have been doing this a long time across lots of different markets. I have never seen a market the size of King County have an average of 112%. And again, this is an average. That means some were 120, 125, 130% of list price. So that is why we have to pay it back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes. And, I've been seeing this coming for a while. And because living through that insanity, I've been doing this for 25 years. I've seen a lot of intense markets, or I thought I had until I experienced this time last year. It was just a
Oh,
level
it
of
was
insanity that
not good.
I don't think I'll probably ever see again. And I'm hoping I don't, honestly, because, you can't have that kind of intensity without the repercussions, 20 plus offers. Some people are still seeing that right now in their market. So I'm just talking about mine, but I know when I was looking more at my, the area where on the east side where I sell most, our list price to sale price ratio there was 118.3% or something. It was
Oh,
even more. So,
wow.
and now those are the same areas that are correcting the most. So people think, oh, the east side is tanking. And like, well, there's
Just
reasons
wait.
for
Wait a
that.
couple months. Yeah, wait a
You
couple
can't
months.
have that happen and then have interest rates double and expect that there's not going to be some walking back of that. So that's
Yeah.
what we're seeing now. But we're not seeing, prices are up. And, for example, on the east side where I was just talking about, the prices have surged even more than that. Overall in King County, it's up 5% month over month, but it was up even higher on the east side where it was close to 300,000, and the average price. No,
Wow.
sorry, 200,000, close to 200,000 bump in 1
Wow.
month. But that's just,
Yeesh.
it's because of the mix. It's because of the,
That's
yeah.
the beauty of median, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
middle. It's not
Yeah.
average. And people,
Yeah.
people, a lot of people have problem with math.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand the subtle difference between median and average. And it's
Yeah.
sometimes because median does tell the mix
Yeah.
pretty easily. And I want to talk, it's actually I don't know if you know this, but in early January, the 3rd or 4th, I put out 12 wild housing predictions. One of them was we were going to have 4 national year-on-year negative numbers. And it was because of our conversations about
Yeah.
just the nuttiness of March, April, May, and June. So we're going to have 3 or 4 months. I called it year-on-year, but again, the year will end up because we gave all that back in the second half of the year because November and December were so slow.
Yeah,
So
you can see when we look at the charts and stuff, we can see where it goes, shoots straight up and then just falls off a cliff. That year over that, sorry, that percentage of the list to sale price ratio skyrockets. And then I remember when they hit the brakes, how chaotic that was, because everyone started panicking because all of a sudden rates were crawling. Rates were shooting up, and everything just dropped.
Stopped.
It was like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So as fast as it went up, it just went down, and everyone was panicking and didn't know what to do. And
so the other thing I want to ask you about Kings County in your market, and maybe it's just your side of East Side because that's where you're intimate with, is I am starting to see more and more people agree with what I've been saying for 3 or 4 months, and that is we have a bifurcated market. And again, very simply, I draw a line at the median price. Stuff listed below the median go fast, often multiple offers, often paying over asking. And then the stuff above the median, excluding the diamonds in the rough who have the it factor, a lot more stuff is sitting. Are you still seeing that play out, or is that not the case?
I am still seeing that play out. So this week, I'm interested to see what's going on. We're seeing we're seeing more entry level inventory start to come on, just for whatever reason this week. I don't know why this week all of a sudden we have more to choose from that are going to be
now.
Better
When we say more, are we talking like 5? Or
yeah,
I mean like a dozen.
8 or something like that.
Okay. We're excited about 8 homes.
We have 8
that's
houses
sad.
to look at this week. If you're a first time buyer, that's a tsunami of listings, right?
Tsunami.
So
that's not good. That's not good.
Yeah, the higher price ones that above the median that do not have the it factor, they're kind of still hanging around out there. They're starting to move a little better, but definitely the it factor ones are still hopping. A lot of cash buyers even still looking for those special properties. I have a house that's on the market we just launched. It's on the lake with some acreage, which is really unusual in a great area. And that one's getting a lot of attention and activity because it's a one-of-a-kind property. And so, people are still buying those that are just looking for that. They tend to be like I said, a lot of cash buyers that aren't driven by interest rate. Yep. I'll be curious to see, since it sounds like rates are declining, what
they are.
You do that, you add that into this mix of low inventory. Well, you know what that means. I'm not even an armchair economist, but I know
you can do that supply demand equation all by yourself.
Yeah, I know about that one. So I think that we're going to start to see things. I think we're going to see the market be a little bit stronger later into the year than we normally would see where we are in the Seattle area. Where typically, like I said, our spring happens in the winter, late winter, and then it drops off. So we're coming up on Easter. And I remember last year, Easter was when somebody flipped the switch. And the year before that, it was Mother's Day. Like we always see these seasonal fluxes, where it goes up and down and up and down. And last year was a little earlier around Easter, but again, it was all those reasons that we've been talking about why that happened at that time. But even before the rate started to really climb, like we started to see that things start to waver a little bit, like the multiple offers weren't always happening right around Easter. Okay. And so now we haven't had the surge or the spike or the inventory to sell. And so I'm thinking we might have a little bit stronger summer for those that still have listings to sell. That's the other thing, is that you got to have listings to sell to have a sale.
Yeah, you can't have a transaction without the listing. Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be a listing and there has to be a buyer too. And I think the buyers are out there, enough of them. I think there's
Yeah,
still more buyers out there, even in the current
I
environment,
agree.
than there are listings. And that's what's keeping these prices up. And that's why our median is up to 850, where it was about 810 in
Yep.
February. So
Yeah, it's we've just basically taken the old supply demand curve and took it down 40%, right? Nationally speaking, we were doing roughly 6.5 million transactions for a decade. Now we're going to do 4. You don't need very many marginal buyers to do that. So one other question I want to ask about your market, I don't know if you heard the daily financial news this morning, but Manhattan last month, so this is a month, but still it shocked me. 57% of the Manhattan properties were all cash. You have any gut opinion in your market what might be all cash, the percentage?
oh man, I'd have to do a little bit of homework and get back to you. But as far as at 57%, I did hear that on the daily financial news, and that
That's crazy,
surprised
right?
me. But I know Manhattan just is a different market that has a lot of wealthy buyers with a lot of cash. And I guess that makes sense. I don't really know that market, but here it's nowhere near that.
It can't be, right? That's got to be a one-off.
No,
Yeah.
I don't want to spout off a number without
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
anything to back it up, but it's a lot less than that.
It's you're gonna take the under on 57%.
I'm
That's
gonna
just
go under. I think that's a pretty easy one, probably half of that. I'm just guessing, maybe
yeah.
20 to
Yeah.
25%. I don't know. But it just seemed to me like the higher the price point, the more likely it is to be cash
Yeah.
buyer. Unless it's a lot of starter homes, we're seeing cash buyers on those too, which is
Okay.
hard to compete. It makes it harder for the first time home buyers to compete with a cash buyer, because we still see a lot of people buying these entry level homes for like their mom to live in, or
Mm.
adult child or something. They're buying it for
Oh,
a
wow.
family member to live in. We see a lot of that where they want to have mom or dad close, but not
Okay.
living with them. But
Yeah, close, but not that close.
right, close enough. It's and the one level homes that are
Yeah.
nice size, but not too big, not too small. Those it's the same ones that the first time buyers like. I'm seeing a decent amount of those being purchased with cash too. And sometimes it's the mom buying them with cash to be close to the
Yeah.
kids, sold her house and has the cash, the equity.
Yeah.
So there's like those two different types of cash buyers out there.
Yeah. It's pretty
So
wild.
not too many investors out there. So I'd say all you out there that are doing the work looking to invest, a lot of your competition has dropped away. So this is our time to shine, people. So get out
Yeah.
there,
I
make your
like it. Do
offers,
do the work, right?
do
Yeah,
the
write the
work.
offers.
Yeah.
Look for the deals, look for terms, seller
Hmm.
financing, whatever it is. Beth, you do an amazing job. If somebody wanted to buy or sell in Kings County or get a referral to your awesome network, how should they reach out and get that started?
Yeah, that's right. So if somebody wants to connect, I can be found at bethtraversogroup.com, or just Google my name. I'm everywhere on social media. If you want to know how to spell it, it's right there in the corner. So
And
thank
again,
you.
if you want a referral to one of her agents, she is the top 1% in the country. So you know her Rolodex is fat with other rock stars. Reach out and I'm sure she can help. Thank you
That's
so
right. I love
much.
to be a matchmaker. So
There you go.